Nick Pivetta, what a guy. Pitches a complete game, allowing one run against the Houston Astros. He's been a completely different pitcher in May. What's up, Sox fans? This is the Locked On Red Sox podcast. Thank you so much for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen of every single day. I'm your host, Massachusetts Pirates team insider Jake Ignaszewski, and I'm joined by my co-host, as always, NESN's Lauren Campbell. And today we're going to recap this great Red Sox versus Astros game and look ahead towards the series against the Mariners. Let's get started.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, it's nice to see that the Red Sox are back to their winning ways against the Houston Astros, who it's kind of crazy to think that Nick Pivetta only allowed one earned run against a team that put up 13 against him just a night ago. What was your reaction to this game, Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, the first reaction was, oh God, here we go again, when Nick Pivetta gave up the home run early in the game. And I was like, oh no, we can't do this again. But he really settled in. The Red Sox got him some great offense, and Nick Pivetta absolutely dazzled. And I was surprised to see him go out for the ninth. No problem with it whatsoever. He absolutely deserved to get that ninth inning. I was very excited to see it. I mean, we saw Alex Cora pull the guy last year when he had a no hitter through 7 innings. So I'm like, no way he gets the ninth. But he worked efficiently. He kept his pitch count low. He was confident. He was in control the entire game. And I'm so happy for him. I love Nick Pivetta. I had a lot of faith in him going into the season. And maybe he just needed to get out of April and just kind of put that behind him and work out any cobwebs that have been hindering him. And while it's been impressive the last 2 or 3 starts, I want to continue to see this. He cannot digress and go back to what he was before in April. We don't want that Nick Pivetta. We want May Nick Pivetta for the rest of the season.
Exactly. And, we both said that he was going to be a breakout candidate. And I actually had a few people at work, a few friends, few people on Twitter said, didn't you say this guy was going to be a breakout candidate? And he was kind of making me look bad. I also went to a game. It was the Jerry Remy whole ceremony, and Pivetta blew up the game. And it was just tough to watch April Nick Pivetta. But, as you mentioned, completely different guy on the mound tonight. It's kind of crazy looking back, especially at his 2021 season, 11 games where he threw only 2 to 3 hits. And as you mentioned, that no hitter. And he seems like he'll have like 2 to 3 starts in a row where he just is masterful. And then, he just has these starts here and there where he kind of blows up. So as you mentioned, hopefully he can continue this nice stretch, and it would be huge for a Red Sox team that really needs somebody to be doing good stuff on the mound.
Yeah. And I think maybe I haven't been on Twitter too much quickly after the game, but after Tuesday's game, the miserable 13 runs, Nick Pivetta went the entire game, gave the bullpen much needed rest. And I think that's maybe overshadowed right now just because of how dominant he was, and understandably so. The storyline here is Nick Pivetta, but you gave that bullpen a needed rest and a much needed day off. Ice those arms, stretch, keep going, and get ready for. I don't think Rich Hill's going to go 9 on Thursday, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. But just to get that extra rest to the bullpen, not have to go to them, rely on them, was also huge. Just an all-around really good game for the Red Sox. And now they've won 2 straight series. It's the first time they've won 2 straight series all season. So all in all, I just think the last 2 series, last 6 games, that fans should be more optimistic right now than pessimistic. Cautiously optimistic, though.
Exactly. That's the first thing I said to you when we hopped on here before recording is can't get too excited just yet. I feel like, when I do get excited, I just sort of get disappointed the next day. But what's nice is that the Sox are coming up on a Seattle Mariners team that hasn't really been playing anywhere close to expectations. They were a team that came really close to making the playoffs last season, had a lot of hope going into the season, getting Jesse Winker, Suarez as well. Also, Robbie Ray, former Cy Young last year. And, it's going to be very interesting to see what the first game does look like of this next series. We're going to talk about that in our second segment. But as you mentioned, Rich Hill, he probably will not be going 9 innings. Last start, he did pitch 6 innings. So, maybe we could be seeing a Rich Hill that could go a little bit later than he was earlier in the season.
Yeah, and I'll take six innings from Rich Hill. I think that it's the last few seasons in particular, it's so rare to see pitchers, go 8 innings, 7 innings even. So we've seen Nate Eovaldi do it a couple times this year, Nick Pivetta on Wednesday night. But if Rich Hill can get into the 5th or the 6th inning, that would be amazing because you're just kind of carrying that momentum, and he's continuing to pick up where he left off because he's pitched well. Even that start on Saturday was first from COVID. So he needs to continue that momentum. Old man still got it. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from him. And if he can continue to be, the Rich Hill that we've seen all season, it makes you wonder looking toward, June and July when Chris Sale and James Paxton ultimately return, where do they go?
Yeah. I that's the big question. What's going to happen with Whitlock? What's going to happen with Houck? But that's why you listen to Locked On Red Sox 5 times a week, so you can learn about these things and get the insight. And I loved what TC said right when the game ended, going into the recap. If you've never heard the word complete game, if you're new to this game, a complete game is what you just watched. And as you said, it's just such a rare thing. And I believe TC also mentioned that it was the first time a starter has gone late into the 8th inning so far this season. And it's really nice, as you mentioned. That's the first thing that I thought of when Nick Pivetta walked out for the ninth. We talked about this for at least 3 to 5 minutes last night about how the bullpen, it just being stretched out and used way too much is just something that has continuously happened. And especially when the Red Sox have a stretch like this of games, you really got to be able to give them a rest. So I'm curious to see how much they're used tomorrow. But, also looking at what happened offensively for this Red Sox team, Rafael Devers, 2 for 3 with a double and a triple. Xander Bogaerts, a home run in the first inning. It was really nice to see the Sox play a little bit of small ball today. And something that I've said the first time so far this season, they did well with hitters with hitting with runners in scoring position.
They did. And they were capitalizing on the Astros' mistakes. And that's something we haven't seen a whole lot from the Red Sox this year. You saw a lot of confidence from this team. And I think that was my biggest takeaway, is that everyone looked confident. And of course, you're going to feel adrenaline and you're going to feel a lot better about beating an Astros team, a very good Astros team, especially after getting spanked the night before. That's something you're going to be really happy to continue to build that momentum, especially when you go down early. Even though it was by a run, they responded right away. Like I said, capitalized on the Astros' mistakes, hit with runners in scoring position. In this economy, everything was going right for the Red Sox on Wednesday. And that's how they need to continue to play for the rest of the season, because I don't know how many times we've had to say this. They need to go on a run because they cannot be playing catch up in May, because it's only going to get worse as the season goes on. But tons of really good things to take away from this game. And it's funny that you said, TC said, if you're new to this game, that you don't hear complete game anymore. The last time the Red Sox had a complete game was in 2019 when Chris Sale did it. And I think that the last one at Fenway was in 2018. I'll have to go back and find the Alex Spear tweet, but the last complete game was from 2019, which is that's 3 years ago. And like 2.5, because you take out the 2020 COVID shortened season. But that's how rare it is these days that pitchers don't go as long as they do. It's a shame, because I love when pitchers go the distance, but it was the entire game, start to finish, was incredibly fun. I had a lot of fun watching baseball on Wednesday night.
Me too. And as you mentioned, 2019, that's crazy. And the thing that really is pivotal for Nick Pivetta is he needs to continue to feed off of this dominant performance and continue to show us that, it was nice to see Red Sox Nation standing up and clapping for him when he was finishing this masterful game. Like, we need to continue to be able to build confidence in Nick Pivetta, not be nervous when he when he gets on the mound, which, it feels that way. It was nice not having to feel like nervous that the bullpen was going to screw up the game. Like that's sometimes how I feel when certain pitchers come on, especially in certain situations. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? But even in the ninth inning, Pivetta was spotting his pitches insanely. And, batters were swinging at pitches so close to the zone, but he was putting them right there.
Yeah, he was really doing everything right on Wednesday. He was getting the right calls. He was painting the corners. He had control and command all night. And I think that's obviously that's what a pitcher needs to have. But to see Pivetta, the bounce back that he's had since April has been incredible, because he did not have this kind of control and command in April. He was all over the place. He was getting shelled, felt like every single time he was on the mound. And now he's kind of returning to that form that fans saw him be so good at last year. And he was great out of the bullpen at times too for the Red Sox, but he started last season 5-0. He can be a good pitcher. So to see him just kind of bounce back has been wonderful. Love a good Canadian guy. I love to see him succeed.
What a guy. And the last thing that I want to mention about Wednesday's game is, looking at the defense. It was really nice to see a strong defense behind Nick Pivetta. The Red Sox defense has been a little bit iffy so far this season, and what an insane catch too by Alex Verdugo up against the wall.
Yeah, I think that, the offense and the defense probably will get a little overshadowed from Wednesday because of Nick Pivetta's strong performance. But yeah, Verdugo showed his real athleticism out there. You had the offense just seems to be clicking. Rafael Devers can do no wrong at the plate, it seems. And Xander Bogaerts, after going hitless the night before, it was just a very complete win. And when a pitcher goes 9 innings and really helps the team win, that's going to be the highlight. But this was a very much needed and should boost the confidence of some players here. Bobby Delbeck had a nice snag at first base too. So you have a lot of players who have been kind of struggling to find their groove. All they need is one game to all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, this is who we are.
And, I don't know about you, but the Trevor Story, little bobble, when that happened on the final out, just because I was so amped, the crowd was in it. I'm like, yo, you can make these diving catches looking like Dustin Pedroia 2.0,
Right,
but you
right.
can't feel the easy ground ball, and luckily he got the out. And what's funny is that the game wasn't even nowhere close. It's not like it was a tie game or a 2-1 game. But yeah, as you mentioned, hopefully the Sox can continue these winning ways going against Seattle tomorrow against facing George Kirby. Rich Hill's on the mound. We're going to talk about that in our second segment, but Lauren just wants to take a second to talk to you about Built Bar.
You know how much I love Built Bar. Maybe you don't know how much I love brownies and brownie batter. I mean, I think we've all tried to sneak brownie batter when our parents would make brownies when we were kids. I would love to eat half the batter just while I'm making them. I can't do that. I'm getting married in 2 months. But with Built Bar Puffs, the brownie batter Built Bar Puffs, try to say that 3 times fast. You are in luck, because it's a new creation from Built Bar, and this one is better than ever. This puff takes protein bars to a whole new level, and they're available right now on built.com. And if you haven't tried the puffs yet, I'm not sure what you're waiting for. You are missing out. They are covered in 100% real chocolate, and they are a marshmallow protein bar. So marshmallowy, chocolatey, and like I said, covered in 100% real chocolate. They're 140 calories, 17 grams of protein, 7 grams of sugar. They're the perfect pick-me-up for any day, whether you need a little pick-me-up in the office, on your way to work, after the gym. They're perfect for any occasion. And not just the puffs, but all Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. So you can eat healthy and actually enjoy what you're eating. And we have an offer for you. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your order. That's LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. And thank you for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen. And for your next listen, make sure to check out the Locked On Now podcast. It has recaps of MLB games with analysis from our local experts, taking fans through the season like no other network. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
So looking at tomorrow's game, we got Rich Hill against George Kirby. Kirby's a guy, I'm looking at his stats right now, got called up from Double-A. He had a 1.82 ERA in Double-A over 5 starts, pitched 24 innings, 32 strikeouts, only walked 5. And he right now looking at it, he's only allowed one singular run over 2 starts in the major leagues. It's kind of crazy to be looking at a guy who's only made 2 starts have a 9.90 ERA. Most of the time when you look at rookies, they have these crazy ERAs because maybe they've given up like 3 or 4 runs.
Yeah, there's a reason the Mariners recalled this guy, and I think it's showing through his first 2 starts. I like George Kirby a lot. I'm torn between I want to see the Red Sox beat up on him because they have all the momentum in their favor, but also torn with like not destroying a rookie's confidence. But you have to do what you have to do to win, and if that means putting 6-7 runs on him, you have to do what you have to do. But he knows how to work batters. And the Red Sox, they've been patient. They've been waiting for their pitches. They really need to continue to do this with Kirby. They really need to make him work, and they really need to get on him early and often, because if they don't, it could be bad news. And you don't want to start a 4-game series with a loss. You're still at home. You have that home crowd behind you coming off an exciting win on Wednesday. So you really need to get to this guy quick, but you have to do it patiently because he will strike you out. He will not walk you. You need to make him work.
And as you mentioned, in his first start debut, 7 strikeouts. So he can strike you out.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
kind of interesting though against the Mets last week. He only struck out 1 batter. Only went 4 innings, allowing 3 hits, only 1 earned run. But we could potentially see him go 4 to 5 innings. So if the Sox can get on him early, they get into that bullpen early, and we could see a really good offensive performance out of them. And as you mentioned, they've done relatively well against rookies so far, and they normally do. It's sometimes tough for some guys to get acclimated to major league hitters, but this guy really seems like the real deal. And he's gonna have to go up against a guy in Rich Hill who, even though he allowed 3 some odd runs his last start, he's been relatively good over his 3 or 4 starts before that.
He has been. He's been pretty reliable, and he does still give up quite a few hits, which I would love if he limited. But the hits really aren't turning into runs in his case, and he's still going deeper into games. So it's going to be fun to watch a rookie go against a seasoned vet, someone who's been around for a long time, and then somebody who's just starting their Major League Baseball career. But the Red Sox need a performance like Rich Hill has been turning in. It'd be awesome if he could go 9 innings, but I don't think we want to get too greedy here with 2 straight complete games. But I think that Rich Hill just needs to go out there, do what he's done. And if he does that, he's going to give the Red Sox every opportunity to win.
And luckily, the Sox are kind of going against this Mariners team when, as I mentioned in the first segment, they're not really living anywhere close up to those expectations that were put on them at the start of the season. Looking at them offensively right now, they have a 232 batting average. And obviously, there's nothing great. 18th in the league, have only hit 38 home runs. They're a team that is looking to get hot just like the Red Sox. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the Sox do perform in this 4-game series. And the Mariners also have some pretty good pitchers as well. So the Sox are really going to have to keep up offensively and also on the pitching side. And, especially with, luckily, this bullpen got a break. I'm curious to see really how they perform against a Mariners team that's really trying to get on track.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. They're trying to get on track. They're not much better than the Red Sox right now. They are 4-6 in their last 10. So hopefully the Red Sox can kind of just capitalize on their misfortunes, the Mariners' misfortunes at the moment, and just get rolling. They need to string together some wins here. And I think Red Sox fans have been patient enough. They are more than ready for the Red Sox to go on a run here. And I've said this before when they were playing the Orioles, when they were playing the Rangers, there's no better time to start going on a run than right now. But then also against a team that's in, no pun intended, in your league in terms of standings and wins, but also coming off a series win against a very strong AL team that very well could make the World Series this year.
Very true. And, talking about the Orioles, we looked at the standings, last episode. The Sox are I can't believe I'm excited about this. We're 1.5 games ahead of the Baltimore Orioles.
We did
Let's
it.
go!
We did
Woo!
it.
And
Good job, Red Sox.
we're only 13 games out of first place. So, we just got to keep on rolling. We just got to keep on stacking up these wins. So I'm really excited for this Mariners series. Mariners have tons of passion with their play, a lot of exciting young players. So this is going to be a really fun series. And you're gonna be hearing all about this series on the Locked On Red Sox podcast. So if you have not yet, make sure to subscribe on either YouTube or whatever audio platform that you're listening to. But real quick, before we get into the third and final segment, I just want to take a second to talk to you about BetOnline. So this is the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. You can find all your latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next season's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action on BetOnline. And you can even check out what the odds are going to be for a Trevor Story home run. What are going to be the odds for this next Seattle Mariners series? Even, if the Sox could win the World Series, I might bet on that, maybe a few bucks. But BetOnline is where the game starts. So as always, we love to end this podcast on a little bit of a mental health minute. So the Sox have been up and down. All you really got to do, the weather's nice, go outside, really take some time to yourself, go outside, be in the sun. I don't know if you like this. This makes me feel super relaxed. Just lay in the sun, do some deep breaths. Remember, breathing is one of the biggest reasons how you get stressed. If you start heavily breathing and that's really what happens when you get stressed, anxious, you heavily breathe. So you need to slow down your breath, inhale, exhale, focus on that breath, and really take some time for yourself and don't allow the outside world to really bog you down.
Yeah, and Thursday there's rain in the forecast, so don't go outside if you want to go outside in the pouring rain and go and go stand out in the rain. That's completely fine too. Whatever helps you de-stress. But I want to just take a second and let's just thank our listeners, because it is episode 500 of the Locked On Red Sox podcast. We obviously have not been around for all 500 episodes, but we genuinely appreciate that if you take 2 minutes to listen, if you take 7 minutes to listen, we appreciate everyone commenting on our YouTube videos, interacting with us on Twitter. It makes our day because we love to do this. We would not be here without you. And here's to 500 more, because this is fun. And I'll do 500 more Red Sox podcasts if they lose the next 100 games. It would be painful, but I'd still do it. And like I said, here's to the next 100 episodes of Locked On Red Sox. And we wouldn't be here without you. So we genuinely appreciate each and every listener every single time you interact with us. Even if you don't, if you're just a silent watcher or listener, we appreciate you too, because we love talking Red Sox baseball.
Couldn't have said it better. It really means the world. All the, even just like the little tweets. Sometimes I've told you this. Sometimes I get tweets of people just saying that they listen. It means the world to me that you want to hear my voice or Lauren's voice. And sometimes people listen to this on the way to their job, which if this mental health minute or this podcast, or if we're able to help you de-stress and not think about the outside world, that's pretty cool to me. And especially when the Red Sox are doing well, hopefully they can continue this streak, because this is a lot of fun being able to, look how excited we are compared to yesterday's episode. Like, this is a lot of fun. And like you said, on to another 500 episodes. Like this has been such a great thing in my life. And, we talked about it before we started recording. I've been on for like 5 months. Time has flied, and this has been so much fun. We've talked to so many cool different people. We're planning on doing that more in the future, and it's going to be a lot of fun for the rest of the season and for the next 500. So we greatly appreciate everybody for tuning in each and every single day. We're going to keep on rocking and rolling on this thing Monday through Friday. As I said, if you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Hit that button. And if you have not yet, make sure to follow us on Twitter. It's LO_Red Sox. Follow Lauren on Twitter. That's Lauren with 4 R's. And follow myself. It's at Jake Iggy. As always, thank you so much for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen of every single day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. So let's go Sox. Let's get another win. Let's start this Mariners series. Let's go on a run. I told you I'm not going to get too excited, but I'm getting a little bit excited. Let's finish it off how we always finish it off. Let's go Sox. Peace.